Hi, Fred Allen.
Hello.
Been with PT for 17 years, mechanical engineer, now application director.
And I'm Pascal Giona. Been with PT for a little bit more than 14 years. Used to be a service tech for 9 years, and now I'm solutions coordinator since 2016.
Glad to be here with you today
Same.
to answer the 7 most asked question on Google about palletizers.
First question.
Ready to go?
I think we have a little slide. What is a palletizer?
Easy answer is, something that you use to put bags or cases or whatever on a pallet. Now, if we want to get into more details, obviously, if we want to talk about the process of a palletizer, is let's say, units are coming on a conveyor, and then you form some rows or layers, as we call it, and then you deposit the whole thing on a pallet. The goal is to have a full pallet load at the end, ready to be shipped to a customer. Ready for the second question?
Go ahead.
It's my turn. Thanks. What are the types of palletizers?
A human is a palletizer. That's where it started. So a human can pick things and put them on pallets or any transport system to ship to customers.
And then if we talk about automation, basically there's 2 main types. There's either conventional or robotics.
Robotics.
Conventional, as we speak, it's art automation. So it's basically, stripping plates and roll forming stuff to make sure that, you square your layer on your pallet, and that's the way it is, versus a robot, which is different.
Which is the robot picks the unit to palletize and puts it on the pallet. And the robot can do a lot more than the conventional, where you change its tooling and you can pick anything that can be placed on a pallet. Whereas with conventional, you're stuck with a dedicated format.
Next question.
Next question. What is the difference between conventional and robotic palletizing?
If we start with, let's say, the robot itself, obviously, right there we will talk about reliability. Robot has less moving parts, so that's one of the difference. Depending on the application, depending on the markets, a conventional palletizer may be more suitable for such and such. As an example, if we're talking about bags that need to be compressed on the pallet to make it perfectly square, well, conventional palletizer might be the way to go. On the other hand, if you need to overlap bags on a pallet for whatever reason, let's say the bags are too big for the pallet, so you need to make them on top of the other. With a conventional palletizer, you cannot do that. The robot is the solution.
All right, we now have a hybrid palletizer, which blends the conventional. So you have the elevator, stripping plates, and
The
roll forming. With the robot, which puts the bag on the stripping plate. So you can overlap and squish your pallet to get a really tight fit.
And then if we talk about speed, conventional, depending on, once again, the application, can be a lot faster than robotics, because typically when you think about a robot, you say, okay, I have a tooling, I pick 1 unit at a time. So based on the robot cycle time, you're limited to the number of cycles that the robot can do. Well, on conventional, you're dealing with a whole layer, so if there's 20 units on the layer, it goes faster.
Yeah.
So, there's all those differences that we need to take into account in order to see what are the difference, or to select what type of palletizer is suitable for our application. Ready for the next question?
Sure. I'll do it, and then you do the next one. Huh?
That's fine by me.
What is end of arm tooling? That's my end of arm tool. See? So that's an end of arm. So that's my arm, that's my tool, that's my end of arm tool. That's it.
An end of arm tooling is really related to a robot, and the reason why it's so important, it's, yes, the units are coming on a conveyor, but at some point the robot needs to pick them up. So if you need to pick a case, you can use a clamp, you can use vacuum, you can use different types of technologies, but it's always a matter of, what's the best technology depending on what you need to handle. And, we can handle case, you talked about drum, pails, whatever. So, end of arm toolings are...
As various as the number of products you can pick.
Yep. Ready for the next one? What are the advantages of a palletizer?
It's automatic, it's reliable, it's steady, it's always doing the same thing. Imagine yourself, okay, always having the same case arriving, one case every 10 seconds, and you pick that one case and you put it there. Oh man, my elbow. Oh man, my knee.
Safety is one.
Safety
obviously
is one thing.
One thing. Efficiency.
It's straight, steady.
And you said one thing. One interesting thing in today's world, with the lack of labor that we're suffering. Nobody wants to do that anymore. So that's why automation, can be conventional or robotics. That makes a lot of sense. Go
Next.
ahead.
Sure. What is the role of a palletizer operator?
Obviously, the operator is there to operate the machine. So you need to press start and has to go. If it could be as easy as that, that would be great. But obviously, there's other things to be done, right?
It's usually the guy who brings the pallets and the pallet dispenser, who fills up the slip sheet dispenser, who presses start at the beginning of the day and presses stop at the end of the day, selects the patterns, the recipes,
Does the changeover.
does a changeover.
If obviously sometimes there's some manual adjustments that need to be made while changing from one product to another. So those are the types of thing an operator has to do, which is a lot better than having to take the unit and putting it directly on the pallet, right? Oh, here's our last question, but not the least. How much does a palletizer cost? That's a really good question.
Not having one costs a lot.
Indeed. But in order to define a price tag for a palletizer, there's so many different variables that need to be considered. Conventional versus robotics, and even robotics versus robotics, depending on the level of automation. Because you can have a robot with a pallet on the floor, and you're still palletizing. However, the empty pallet traveling is not automatic. It's a forklift driver that will do that. And if you compare that to a fully automatic palletizer, where you would still have the robot that palletizes, but the empty pallets are dispensed automatically, goes on the conveyor, then goes onto an automatic stretch wrapper, it's a complete different story.
And that's why by asking us, we can help you discover which palletizer suits your application the best, or your product, and your speeds, and your budget. So, because that's what we do.
Thanks a lot
Thanks, Fred.
for this. It's been interesting to answer those questions. And if you want to learn more, don't hesitate to click on the link below and follow us on social media.
We're really good influencers.